Howdy everybody, welcome to yet another F1 2017 stream. Today, the Italian Grand Prix from Monza. So we had a couple of good results yesterday around Spa and the Hungary ring. Off the podium in both, but I think we got a fourth at the Hungary ring, and I don't think we quite made it to... I can't even remember now. Anyway, both good points finishes, and I think we've closed in on 5th in the championship, and we're only about 37 points off the lead of the championship or something like that, I think. So, that's a good thing. And after I ended the stream yesterday and went back to the motorhome, I got a contract event that made me the #1 driver at Renault, so that's cool. Very, very cool. Gives us a bonus in regards to accruing resource points to do car development. Oh, we might actually see it again here at this point. Only 3 more points required to win that rivalry. Who did I gain the most with? Williams and Haas. Oh yeah, those flashbacks. Man, I wish I could drive without them. I hate those flashbacks. Oh, here we are. We are going to see it again.
Hey, you'll like this. I just got out of a meeting with the boss and, well, congratulations. You've done a great job.
You've been sacked. You've done a great job. Your performance on and off the track has been exceptional. Senior management has decided to promote you to first driver. We expect exemplary performance from you, and in return you will receive additional R&D resource points for every race. We look forward to our continued success. Renault Sport Formula 1 team. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. That's good. We do have some extra points to spend now. Do I want to spend them on durability? Actually, no I don't, because... you'll notice that over here, after the 3rd ice upgrade, which we got the last race, we now have this available to us, the fuel technology power, which will actually move our powertrain performance ahead of Red Bull, which will make us the best of the Renault powered teams, which we should be because, you know, Renault. But that's cool, and that should allow us to start coming at these upgrades around here so we could get some more power. Do I want to spend the upgrade on that though? Or is that where we want to focus? Chassis, aero, power. It's tough to say. Actually, I am going to spend the points because I want the last gearbox upgrade, because I'm still struggling to make them last for 6 races. And then I think energy store and the control. Maybe I'll do those upgrades and then we'll call it on upgrades and start doing work on our chassis sucks. Our aero is middle of the pack. Our powertrain is lower tier. Looks like the chassis is in desperate need of work. That's what we'll do. We'll start hoarding some points between now and the end of the year. Sorry about that. We'll do the last 2 durability minor upgrades. And then we'll start hoarding some points up to develop the chassis. To give ourselves a really good chassis. Nice drivable car. This is Monza. I don't know whether this is going to be any good for us, really. I mean, we should beat McLaren. But... I think it's going to be a tough race.
are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
It's a durability upgrade, it's fine. Alright, so we did take a whole bunch of new parts at the last race, which was terrific. That was a good thing to do. Big penalty, but we still got a result. I got the coughs today. But we did take a 5 of everything, so... And we took a new gearbox as well. Right. Oh. Practice coming up here. Track acclimatization. We'll put some old stuff back in the car. That will do. Let's go to practice.
Good morning. You join us as the
Good morning.
start to tick
Sounds
away
like Scooter.
before the beginning of
Good
practice here
morning.
in Monza. The teams are working furiously on the cars, making last-minute adjustments before they...
Whatever.
Right, Chris probably mentioned the new parts that have come in from the factory. Well, they're all fitted and good to go.
They're all
Hopefully
fitted
the
and
trick.
good to go. Get a setup. This dude does good setups. And it saves me having to put wear on components. Now, arrow 2 and 3. Nah, that'll do. Make it happen. We'll do track acclimatization. That will be a problem. There we go. Problem resolved. That's right, one wing. No grip. Well, that's not good. That will be white. Oh man, I must be still half asleep the way I'm driving. Oh, it counts as a miss. Belted that curb. I didn't like that.
This is the last lap of the program. Final lap of the program. Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes' time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Going in too hot there, only need to scrub up more speed before trying to hit the
Right, that's
apex.
the end of the program. Box this lap.
Yep. Got the coughs today. Need more water. I reckon we'll try this one. I think we may be able to do this one. A, before the rain comes, and B, with the worn engine components. I don't think the pace is quite as critical. But we'll see. If not, we'll do it in FP2 with some. Oh, hi, hi Simus, how are you, man? Simus, apologies if I got the pronunciation wrong. And they're all locked up then, with the time to try and get back this lap.
Nico is in P3.
Yeah, Monza is very easy as a track to drive. It's not particularly challenging, but it does. Yeah, it rewards late breakers, like people who are really confident under brakes. But it does feel very much like a Sunday day cruise. Oh, there we go, we're done. It feels very much like a Sunday day cruise going around Monza. Alright, so we did those programs. So now it's got tyre management, fuel saving, and quali pace. But what we're going to do is we'll do that in FP2.
An interesting practice session there then. Let's remind ourselves of the top 3.
Pace didn't look too bad. P13, and all we did was the track acclimatization and a race stint. That's good. Maybe we'll have good pace this weekend. But we'll put the better components back in the car now. Yeah, I know. Like, that's what Monza's like. It's, yeah, I think Renault... Renault's going to struggle around here, but we'll see. It might surprise us. I'm not going to take any penalties this weekend, so that's handy. Alright, so we're going to put the better components back into the car now. Okay. Alright, FP2. No, half distance races. I do like full distance races, but they're very, very long, so it can be difficult to keep people interested in the stream for that long.
Pace is good, and tyre wear was okay on the last lap.
So it looks like we're good for lap time. It's just we'll just drive it a little bit easier.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
Are you in training session now? Yeah, I'm just doing the practice programs to accumulate some resource points, and then we'll go to qualifying. There we go.
Complete.
Good. Get some points for that. So we have 2 to go. We have the fuel burn, and then we have the qualifying pace. Actually, let's have a look at the FP3 will be dry, qualifying dry, race is wet. Another wet race. All my bloody races are wet. It's crazy. Fuel saving, let's do it.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 26.6.
Good for me. So we'll do this fuel test. Thank you. We'll do this fuel test, and then the qualifying test, and then we'll do qualifying. See what we can get. Alright, purple straight up. That's good. Alright, 1 to go. Qualifying run. We'll go to FP3 for that.
quick look at the classification.
Yep, that's right.
At the end of the session, then.
That's
Here are
right.
the top three.
Yeah, so the difficulty's on 95%, which is legendary. But yeah, I'm thinking that I'll see out this season on 95. But I might move it up to 100 if I do a season 2. Because yeah, I think as the car gets better, we're getting better and better results. And I want to keep being challenged by the game. So FP3. Let's do it. We're gonna do the qualifying program, and then we'll go to qualifying itself. We're gonna have some really solid pace around here, at least in the if the practice sessions are anything to go by. I guess we'll see how we go with the qualifying program. Had the rears locked up into there then, but it worked out okay. I've gone too deep there. This lap could be better. If it's not purple, I think we'll go again. Oh, or maybe just not. We'll just go straight to purple. There's definitely more time in that. I screwed up the second Lesmo, and I screwed up the Parabolica. No, I've got a Fanatec. I do.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1:24.9.
Yeah, it's a. Shut up, Crofty. It's a yeah, it's a Club Sport 2 base with a Formula rim. An old set of Advantage A1 pedals. Hey, Daradros. It's a nice wheel. It's funny. When I first got it, I got it the start of last year. I think it was last year. No, actually it wasn't. It was only this year, wasn't it? The time's gone by really, really, yeah, weird. It actually failed, and I had to send it back to Fanatec for repair. It was still brand new, and yeah, it stopped working. No, hang on. It was last year that I got it. Yeah, because it failed when I came back from Melbourne. I was in Melbourne for a little bit of time with work, and I came back, and the wheel failed straight after that. So yeah, it was last year. All right, I think we're good. Might as well just go straight into qualifying. But yeah, ever since it got repaired, it's been rock solid. It's been great. It's a really good wheel. I don't use much in terms of force feedback because the microphone will pick up the desk vibrating and stuff, so I don't use much in terms of that. But other than that, it's good. Alright. Let's do it. Still qualifying lap. See how we go. We don't need to worry about anything special in terms of conserving tyres because the race is going to start wet, so we haven't got to worry about trying to do any counter strategy or anything. Missed my turn-in point there because it was so dark. I must say the atmosphere in this game is really good. Codemasters have done a good job of lighting and those kinds of things. Like the track actually feels like it evolves visually. Bit late on the throttle there on the exit out of 2. And locked up into 4. And then we've done that. This is not a good lap. We may do another one straight after this, I think, just to make sure. Oh yeah, I do have a mic arm now, so I actually got one this week. So I could probably turn the force feedback on now. Wow, this track is no grip now.
You've been moved down to P6.
Yeah, so the mic should be better now because it is on an arm, so it shouldn't pick up any desk vibration now. But I guess I've probably kind of got used to driving these cars without force feedback as well because of it. Don't overtake me in qualifying, Lewis. Thanks, you friggin' loser. In the end, we didn't find much there because I lost a lot of time into Ascari because of Hamilton wanting to race me in qualifying. That is not going to be enough. Or am I losing it? First sector's really good, 2/10.
Our best lap so far is a 1 minute 24.9.
Yeah, it's all in the last 2 sectors. So we'll go around again. I know I can do better than that. I lost a lot of time into Ascari because of Hamilton that lap. And this track has certainly got a lot less grip on it than it did in Free Practice 3. I just realised that for some reason I'm carrying 10 laps of fuel. That's terrific.
Lap times are better than yours. Nico is faster than us.
Yeah, you shouldn't talk to me, mate. You're there the one who's making sure I got 10 laps of fuel in my car. I wonder I'm struggling for pace. There's all that time from Ascari. And there it is, all gone. What? This game sometimes absolutely infuriates me. Why am I carrying 10 laps of fuel? Retard? Look at that.
We're third in the speed trap, 340.5 kilometers per hour.
Why do I care about that? What you're saying is we should be carrying more wing. Alright, I've got to hook up a lap here. This is getting a bit silly. Spent all free practice looking like we had good pace, and I've come out here and that just, it's no good. And this isn't going to go well. Look at that, we're already 2.5 tenths down. Probably should have put new tyres on as well. Silly me. No grip, good. They were Advantage A1 pedals, Simus. They're quite old though. I don't know whether they're... I got them from a place here in Australia. I don't know whether they're still made.
P12.
Oh, please let that be enough. I should have put new tyres on, that would have made that easy. We were much slower in the first sector than we should have been.
All complete. Mechanics, please stand clear. We're ready to go.
Hang on, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm driving out for some reason. You told me there was insufficient time to do a lap. Whatever. Jeez. Oh, this game. Right, we made it through. That's all we needed. What do you think about the new owner of F1 who want to make F1 more equal? So, I like Liberty Media. I think they've done some really good things. In terms of making the sport more equal, I think that they should fix up the prize pool and the way that the prize money is allocated. I think that's definitely something that should happen. And just to make it so that the poorer teams get more money out of prize money. Now, the flip side is that I don't want to see a whole bunch of rules come in that are designed to make the sport effectively a spec series. It's a formula series for a reason. In that you're given a box and you have to design your car within the limits of that box. Whereas a spec series is everybody's using a whole bunch of spec parts. What they need to do is reduce the complexity, which the power unit regulations as they are now are incredibly complex and are expensive, which means that the customer teams have to pay more. So more of their budget gets allocated to buying engines from somebody. And for the engine manufacturers, they've got to spend a lot of money with no guaranteed success because of the complexity of the regulations. Just ask Honda. So I think what they should do in 2021 is they can keep the V6, as much as I'd prefer a return to V8s or even V10s. That would be really cool, but I don't think that will happen. They can keep the V6s. They can keep the MGUK, which is the old KERS system, the kinetic energy recovery, but they should get rid of the MGUH. The MGUH is the big performance differentiator from my perspective between Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault, and Honda. It's also the most complex part of the power unit. It's incredibly complicated and impressive how it works, but I don't think it belongs in Formula One. I honestly don't. And the fact that it's so expensive to develop that one part, and the fact that that's been a part that's kept Honda from being competitive and has been the main source of their reliability problems. I think that if they want to attract more engine manufacturers to the sport, or private engine makers like Cosworth or Ilmor, then they should get rid of the MGUH. So 2021, I'd like to see a turbo V6 or a twin turbo V6 with a KERS kinetic energy recovery, but do away with the MGUH, and I think that will cheapen the power units a lot. But really, what they should do is just go back to V8s like what we had prior to the hybrid era. They're much cheaper. They sound better. They're a lot less complex, and teams would be able to do more with their money to actually make their cars faster rather than having to buy or make power units. So as long as they're making it even by keeping the sport interesting and fixing up the prize money distribution, and not by applying arbitrary rules that artificially bring the other team, the lower down teams forward, or unfairly handicap the top teams, like what they liked to do back in the early 2000s against Ferrari, where they brought in all kinds of rules to stop Ferrari winning. They brought in a tyre war to stop Ferrari from winning. Didn't work. They got rid of testing to stop Ferrari from winning. It didn't work. They changed the engines to stop Ferrari from winning. But Ferrari were already losing at that point, but they made the decision to switch to V8s whilst Ferrari was still dominating the sport. The fact is that Ferrari just won because they had the best driver, the most committed driver in the sport driving their car, and they spent the most. Well, actually, they didn't spend the most money. Toyota spent the most money, but they spent their money wisely, and they done lots of testing. And nowadays, Mercedes dominate because they've got a good car and because they've got the best MGUH system, because they were developing it 2 years before everybody else was. That's that. All right, I better get back to driving now. People don't want to hear me rabbit on about the sport. If you check out the, I'll just give myself a plug here. I've got a podcast I do with a few friends called The Wall of Champions. You'll find it on SoundCloud or on iTunes. And the episode that we did in the summer break was about the future of the sport and what we all thought that Formula One should do with the regulations at the next regulation change. Actually, give me that back. Tell me what tyres you got me on. %, wear. No wonder the car was so bad on that last lap. Alright, so this should be easier now. We're carrying less fuel, better tyres. I just got to drive a good lap.
P6, that lap. Our best lap so far is a 1:24.2.
That's not good. We're not going to make it on those times. 24.2. It felt like an okay lap. I don't know where I lost the time. Actually, we'll go back out on this set. Who will be world champion this year, in my opinion? Hamilton or Vettel? Prior to Singapore, I would have said Vettel, but now after Singapore, I think it will be Hamilton. I think that Seb done himself a lot of damage to his championship hopes at Singapore. Not purely his fault. I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, he caused an accident, but he was overly aggressive, and I think he'll come to regret that. There was no need to shut down Verstappen the way that he did. He should have held his line, particularly in the wet when race starts are very variable. I think he would have been better served. Hindsight's easy, but you know, he would have been better served staying in a straight line and not trying to shut down Verstappen as aggressively as what he did. If you do that, you tend to get what you're asking for, and he did. And it's a shame because the championship was shaping up really nicely with some swings and roundabouts coming up with, you know, whether Ferrari or Mercedes would have the better car at certain tracks. I think the fact that Hamilton has 28 points now basically means that Hamilton will require a DNF at some point for Vettel to realistically be back in the championship. I think, because I think there's tracks coming up where the Mercedes is going to be better. So we'll have to wait and see. Malaysia is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, Hamilton was going to smack that out of the park last year until he had the power unit failure. So, if Hamilton beats Vettel at Malaysia, I think it's just about over. Really. Suzuka will suit Ferrari better, I think. Austin will be touch and go. I think that's a 50-50 toss-up between which car. I think the Ferrari will be better in the first sector in particular. The Mercedes will be better on the very long straights, of which there's two, obviously. What else have we got? Like Interlagos, Ferrari will be better at Interlagos. Abu Dhabi, I think, will suit Mercedes. Yeah, but I think 28 points is a big gap, and unless Hamilton has a problem, I think that he should be able to hold. He should be able to hold Sebastian off, and Mexico will suit Mercedes, I think. So.
You're doing a great job. We're much higher up the field than we expected to be.
I'm not doing a great job, mate, because once everybody else does laps, we're going to be a long way down. Don't know, but what the hell was that in Singapore? It was pure comedy gold. Yes, it was. It was so silly. As I said, it was just. I mean, I don't want to overjudge Seb. Dude's a 4-time world champion. He's raced a lot more than I have, obviously, including real Formula One cars. Just for me, I've seen enough races. I've done enough myself to know that if it's wet, like it was at Singapore, starts are very variable. Like they are, like so much different from dry starts. Some guys will absolutely nail it with great traction in the wet, where other guys will break into wheel spin. Seb knew he got a poor start. He had to have known that somebody behind him was probably going to get a blinder, and as it turns out, 3 did. Kimi got a blinder, Lewis got a blinder, and Fernando got a blinder. And for whatever reason, Seb felt the need to try and cover Max, probably because he got a bad start. But to me, it was blinkered. It was silly. He should have kept a straight line and kept his nose clean for turn 1 and turn 2. Like, it's just, to me, it just makes sense that you would not try and aggressively chop up somebody at the start in the wet, because the chances are that somebody behind them has got a really, really good start, and that's exactly what happened. You're better off just keeping it straight, keeping it tidy, concentrating on yourself. And even if you lose the lead to Verstappen, even if you lose the lead to Raikkonen down at turn 1, it doesn't matter. He had to beat Hamilton at Singapore. He had the car to do it, and he had the whole race to get it back. But instead, he decided to chop down on Verstappen. He must know that Verstappen wouldn't yield anyway, because that's not how Max drives. And yeah, it was just silly. So it wasn't something that I think that was penalizable in any way. I don't think it's something he should be accosted for. But at the same time, you just look at it and go, man, that's a costly thing to do. That's a really, really costly thing to do. And it wasn't needed. Like, that kind of aggression wasn't needed. It smacked of Schumacher, actually. It's the kind of thing that Michael used to do. Like, he'd be, leading a championship by 3 seasons, and he'd still do something, whatever it was, ruthlessly to try and win and cost himself points. But generally, maybe not to that level of silliness, I say. Thanks, Deradros. Yeah, I mean, that's okay, Neil Oswan, or Neil Osone. Sorry if I've got that. It wasn't so much a freak incident. It was just that because Seb moved left and he tightened up Kimi and Max. If Seb had kept a straight line, there was plenty of room for Max and Kimi. I mean, Max saw it coming, right? Because Max lifted. Max knew what was going to happen. He had nowhere to go. Because there was only a car width down the left-hand side where Kimi was going, because he got the good start. And that's what I mean, is that it was almost guaranteed that somebody in that top 6 was going to get a better start than everyone else, because it was a wet condition, and it's just how it goes. Particularly in a wet-dry condition, or not a full wet condition, if you understand what I mean. And Seb, I think hindsight will go, yeah, probably should have just kept the car straight, because, that's how it is. I wish I was, Simon. That'd be great. I used to do some work for Giancarlo Fisichella. So I've spent some time in the F1 paddock. Think of the second corner, Kimi. Kimi, as soon as he didn't have one of his wheels attached to his car correctly, he got no control of the car. That's just how it is. Kimi didn't have any control of what happened after that first contact. They always bluff them by running close, just Kimi was there. Yeah, that's right. And it was unfortunate, because if Kimi didn't get the good start, then there was no problem. Max would have had room on his left. The initial contact was Max and Kimi. So if Kimi had got the same start that Seb did, everything's fine. But that's my point, is that in the wet condition like that, like particularly like the conditions I had at Singapore, experience as a race car driver tells you that somebody's going to get a really good start. And if that person happens to go up the inside, then there's going to be an extra car there. And that's what I mean by Seb. I think in hindsight will say, I probably should have just kept the car straight, because what happened with Kimi was there was a very, very good chance that was going to happen, that somebody was going to get the start like that. That's what I mean. In a dry, that's less likely. Everybody gets a very similar start in a dry. But in a condition like what we had at Singapore, it's much more variable. And Seb had a poor start, Max got a poor start, then Kimi, Lewis, and Fernando all got really good starts. And they jumped the top 3. Particularly Kimi. Kimi nailed the start. By the way, Kimi started in first gear and Seb started in second. So that was there's that comes into it as well. That's why Kimi's launch was better. He got good traction in first gear, therefore he had more torque off the line, therefore he launched harder. So anyway, it is what it is. You can't take it back now. I just think Seb's going to come to regret that one, like no other race this season. Anyway, we better do this last run and see if we can keep our position in Q3. Or do we even have enough time for another run? 2 minutes. We do have enough time. But I think what we're going to actually do...
Best lap so far is a 1 minute 23.8.
What we're going to do is, because I don't want to start on worn tyres... Actually, no, it's wet, isn't it? Yeah, the race is wet. Well, screw it, we're doing it. Oh, we can't. We're out of time. Damn it. Ah, I sat there procrastinating for too long. No, hang on, I'm doing this again. No. Go back to the garage. I don't think we'll have made this. I think we would have got bummed out by somebody. I think. Oh, we made it. Ha! Hallelujah. Although there's probably more wear on those tyres because the bloody... That stupid thing that comes up says insufficient time for another lap actually puts you into the preload screen. So then when I press the monitor screen, it actually goes out on track, which is I've done twice now. That's silly. Mika Hakkinen is my fave ever. Mika Hakkinen was great. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Mika Hakkinen and the battles between he and Michael back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, good dude. I think he's a better class of driver than the world champions that he took over from in Damon and Jacques Villeneuve. And I think he showed the difference between a good driver like DC and then a really, really good driver like Mika. You know, and some of his battles with Michael, even qualifying battles, were just stupendous, to use a weird word. They were great. Got a lot of time for Mika. All right, so we made it to Q3. But we've probably got some pretty worn tyres now. I can have a quick look at that, actually, because it would have drove out on track. And put another lap of wear into them. Only 10%. An extra 3% wear for the extra lap they would have done. Favorite one is Mark Webber, though I really like him when he was with Red Bull. Yeah, Mark. He's a. It's tough for me to say because I'm Australian as well, so it's very easy to sound partisan and patriotic because I like Daniel Ricciardo, but Mark. It's actually weird because when Mark first came into Formula One, and he was at Jaguar, well, he was at Minardi first, but then at Jaguar, he quite often qualified that car really, really well. He put on the front row, I think at Malaysia. It was Malaysia, I think he put it on the front row. And he was always qualifying pretty much in the top 6 in that Jaguar, and then he'd go backwards in the race. And yet by the end of his career, he was a better racer than he was qualifier, so it's weird. So yeah, Mark's pretty cool dude. I always liked the fact that he spoke his mind and didn't really adhere to F1, you know, the BS that goes on in Formula One. Sometimes that can work against you though, and I think it did for Mark on a couple of occasions. I liked Webber. Shame his form dipped after he nearly won. Yeah, there's actually a reason for that, Neil Osone, or Neil Oswan. I might just call you Neil. So what happened is when they switched from the Bridgestone tyres to the Pirelli tyres, if you look at the results between Seb and Mark in 2009, 2010, you'll find that the places where Mark was better than Seb were in the fast corners, because Mark had a much better feel for the car and he was much more aggressive in the quicker corners. Seb would make all his time up in the slower corners and things like that. But when they switched, first of all, when the blown diffusers came in and it became that you could pretty much go flat through fast corners. And then when they switched to the Pirelli tyres, which didn't like being leaned on the way that Mark drove the car, that broadened the gap between Seb and Mark, and the places where Mark was stronger than Seb no longer existed. And so when they switched to the Pirellis and the blown diffusers became a big thing, that was when the gap came in between Seb and Mark. When they were before that, obviously, as you saw in 2009, 2010, they were actually really close, because Mark was better in fast corners and Seb was better in slow corners. So across a lap, it sort of evened out. Mark was very much a commitment driver, which is also why he won Monaco a couple of times. Because he win Monaco in qualifying, and in qualifying he would go balls to the wall, as we would say. So, and I think somebody up here asked me previously, who am I support? You asked me, Neil, who am I supporting in F1? Who am I supporting now? Daniel Ricciardo, mainly because I think he's just a funny guy. Less because he's Australian and more because he's just a funny guy. And I think Formula One needs more characters like that. I like Nico Hülkenberg. I think he's a really, really good driver who hasn't clutched his opportunities like his teammates have. Like when Perez got a few of the podiums. We got all the podiums for Force India with the exception of the one that Fissy got back in 2009. Perez on the podium, whereas Hülkenberg, whilst across the season being quite similar, hasn't been able to get on the podium yet. But I think Hülkenberg's a really good driver, and if Renault build a good car next year, I think that Hülkenberg can be a real dark horse for probably not the championship, because I think it'd be too much of a stretch, but definitely a guy who will steal points from the big guys. And Fernando. Cool story about Fernando. I used to hate him. I absolutely hated him when I was doing the stuff for Fissy. I hated Fernando because our teammates, and Fernando flogged him. And I remember I was talking to Fissy in 2006, and I was like, man, I mean, Fernando won a championship. They just developed the car for him, right? And he's like, yeah. They all of the input from Fernando. And I'm like, yeah, see, look, there's a reason for it. But it turns out Fernando's just really great. And he can't deny it. And I actually really like the guy as he's old. I used to dislike him because he used to complain a lot. He used to whinge when he was, well, I guess he still complains and whinges now, but when he was younger, it was always the team was against him. It was China 2006, and a few times where he said, Fissy and Flavio didn't want him to win a championship. Just stupid stuff like that. But he's grown up a lot. In having to go back to Renault after it fell apart at McLaren. And I just like the guy now. So yeah, they're the three I follow: Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, and Alonso. Oh, the chat thing's not on the screen. Let me fix that. There we go. I'm Canadians, but the only good driver from Canada in F1 was Gilles Villeneuve. His son was pretty ordinary, and Stroll was really young. I've no idea if he'd be a future world champion. So yeah, Gilles was a boss. Unfortunately, I'm too young to remember Gilles. But I've seen the videos and him driving around on 3 wheels. Guy was a champion. I think Jacques was okay. Jacques lucked into a good car, and then he made a silly career choice in going to start up the BAR team with Craig Pollock. I think that was a silly thing to do. But he done what he wanted to. He got rich. So, I mean, he won a championship and got rich. If only we were all so lucky. So, yeah, that's okay. And as for Stroll, Stroll's really surprised me this year. Because in Melbourne, for example, he looked like he was holding on for dear life. Like it looked like he was, not the car was driving him rather than him driving the car. But, he got the podium in Azerbaijan, and I think that as the season's gone on, he's looked so much better than Felipe, particularly in the wet. At Monza in qualifying, he looks so much better than Felipe. And I think that's a real credit to him. I think he's worked really hard, and I think that he's got a future in the sport. Back after the first 4 or 5 races, if you listen to the podcast, we were saying he's got no future in the sport. But to be honest, now he does. He definitely does. And he deserves to be there. He's performing really well. Whether he can be world champion, probably not. But you never know. If you get into the right car at the right time, nearly all the guys on the grid can be world champion. Probably with the exception of Jolyon Palmer, but that's harsh. But if you're in the right car at the right time, you can be world champion. Just Jenson Button, Nico Rosberg, they proved that. That they looked not as good as guys like Hamilton and Vettel and Alonso. But you give them the right car and the right conditions and the right season, and that they win the championship. You know, look at Damon in '96, same deal. Damon didn't look as good as his contemporaries. He didn't look as good as Mansell. He didn't look as good as Villeneuve, even in Villeneuve's first season. He certainly didn't look as good as Schumacher, Senna, Prost, all these guys. But he was in the right car in '96, and he won the championship because Jacques had some problems and lost some points at the start of the year. So, and yeah, and that, by the way, that's not to say none of them deserve it. Every world champion deserves it. Rosberg deserved it last year. Hill deserved it in '96. I would never ever say that a champion doesn't deserve it. I love Webber's crazy crash, and he gets out pissed off like nothing happened. Yes. Oh yeah. He's where he went airborne over the back of Kovalainen at Valencia is and he wiped out the DHL sign. So yeah, it's that's one of the craziest crashes I've seen. Yep. Jenson Button, most unexpected championship ever. Deserved it though, for sure. Not in 2009. That was a crazy season, like with Braun showing up, and the Honda developed car was just an absolute weapon. To think they could just bolt a Mercedes engine into the back of it and win is crazy when you think about Formula One in the modern terms now. Like that couldn't happen in 2000 and 2017. And he deserved it. He won 6 races out of 7 at the start of the season, and that's where he won it. And then he spent, he spent the rest of the season holding on for dear life to that championship lead because, they ended the season with the 3rd best car, and Barrichello was beating him in the second half of the year. So, yep. Don't take it. Damon was good. No. I don't say Damon. It's not to say Damon wasn't good. I just mean that he wasn't as good as his contemporaries who were around him. It's like saying Rosberg wasn't as good as Hamilton, but Rosberg still won the championship last year, and he deserved it. That's what I mean. It's like Damon wasn't as good as, nobody would think and sit there and say Rosberg is every bit as good as Hamilton and Vettel and Alonso, because I think history tells us that that's probably not the case. That doesn't mean he's bad. It's just mean he's not the pinnacle top tier if you tiered the drivers. And Damon was the same. Damon was good, but he wasn't Schumacher. He wasn't Senna. He wasn't, but he won the championship, and no one can ever take that away from him, and he deserved it. So that's that. Anyway, I'm blathering. Let's do some racing, or at least a qualifying lap. Helps if you reselect your screen, you muppet. There we go. Mandatory set for Q3. That's cool. I think we don't really have that much in terms of tyres. I think we can have 2 cracks at this. It is wet tomorrow, so the tyres are going to matter less anyway. Let's have a go. Oh, look at that flat. Look at the glare from the sun. Probably just looks like slightly yellow pixels to you guys on the stream, but yeah, they look good on my screen. That's all that matters. Alright, balls to the wall. Let's do this. 23.2. I think that's slower than, what was it? Oh no, actually that's a good lap. 23. I was thinking of the 24. I think I done a 23.9 or something to get into Q3. So I'm bloody happy with a 23.2.
Fastest lap is a 1:23.2.
Alright, so what we can do here is just fast forward time a little bit. And then, I know we're on worn tyres, but we'll go and do it again. Fifth, third row. That was a good lap. Really happy with that lap. Felt like I drove it okay. Could have gone faster through the Parabolica though. I went in there and a bit hot and had to delay my throttle application. Which sucks to be me, I guess. Yeah, see, why couldn't I drive it like that on my fast lap? Nice clip the apex, accelerate through the corner. But no, I had to mess it up because me. We're 3.5 tenths up. And now we're not because I've locked up the rears. Oh no, well that's over. Went in too hot. How much better is the Renault engine to the Honda? I love McLaren. Yeah, if you're talking about the game, much better. If you're talking about real life.
As we wind down,
Well, we got fifth anyway, isn't that nice? Even finding 3.5 tenths would have found us a position.
And Sebastian Vettel. Goodbye for now then, but
Shut up, Crofty. So, the Renault engine is probably not too bad in terms of the ICE itself. I think they have shortcomings in the MGUH as opposed to Ferrari and Mercedes, which I think, strangely enough, is the same problem. I think McLaren have two problems, but we'll start with the Renault one. So the Renault one, I think, is the MGUH is not as good as the Ferrari and the Mercedes, which means that their power deployment isn't as good, and the car's probably not quite as drivable. The McLaren has two problems. A, it's got MGUH unreliability, and they also have a problem with... Actually, I should win this, shouldn't I? Oh, nearly. One to go. McLaren have a similar problem with the MGUH not being very competitive, but it's also got reliability issues. So, mind you, so did Renault's at the start of the year. They had to start the season with last year's MGUH because the 2017 one wasn't reliable. And McLaren also have a vibration issue within the ICE, the internal combustion engine, because they only dynoed a single cylinder and piston way back when they were choosing their design. So that McLaren's been playing catch up on that all year. I do think that what can I say? I think McLaren's made a mistake. I think McLaren's made a mistake leaving Honda, mainly because they're just going to become a customer team, and I think they're going to have their work cut out for them, playing third fiddle really to Renault and Red Bull, and you really need to be a partner. Like Ron Dennis made the right decision when he switched them from Mercedes to Honda. I think that it sucks that it went so badly, and it's cost McLaren a lot of money in terms of constructors' points. And I feel like they've made the decision to appease Alonso, and I think that's the wrong deal. They should have said to Fernando, "Look, just go to Renault, go somewhere else. We'll run Lando Norris and Van Dorn, and we'll give Honda the time to become good." And of course, that's a huge problem for McLaren. I accept that because they're going to be racing at the back for however long it takes for Honda to do their thing. But becoming a customer team at Renault means that what are they going to be? The fourth, the fifth best car. They think that they can scramble for points maybe or the odd win. I know Alonso's targeting Ricciardo's position. Ricciardo fourth in the championship, won a race this year, second at Singapore, could have won Singapore without the gearbox problems he had. Alonso wants to be Ricciardo. But does McLaren think they can build a chassis as good as Red Bull's? Maybe, I don't know. That's a good question. So, yeah, what can they do? Anyway, I have to zip away for about a minute. I'll be back in a minute. You guys can entertain yourselves in a short time. Post some questions up. I'll answer them when I get back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I guess you are the only questioning guy. Figured McLaren have an awesome chassis just week engine. True, but is their chassis better than Red Bull's? I think many people think that Red Bull's probably the best chassis on the grid. Mainly because of how much they outperform Renault. So it's tough to say. Obviously, I think McLaren's got Peter Pedromo, who used to be the aero guy at Red Bull. So, who knows? I guess we'll find out next year. Anyway, let's go to the race. I've made you guys wait long enough with my yabbering on and then a brief comfort break. At least my cough went away. Knock on wood. Oh, get rid of that. Don't want to be copyright struck.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session.
So full wet or inter?
You can run side by side into the Rettifilio, but don't brake too late on these cold tyres or you will hit someone.
How much fuel are we carrying? Or 27 laps? A little bit more. Or actually maybe a touch more because we'll be at full throttle a lot. That'll do. So I think it's going to dry out in the back end of the race, but our first pit stop's definitely going to be for inters again. Alright, good. Do it. Ooh, my pedals moved.
We're accumulating some wear on the MG UK. We need to stay out of rich fuel mode to manage it.
And those front 4 guys are just gone. They're in another race. Problem was is that when I put my foot down off the start, my pedals moved. And yeah, I got a shocking start. Alright, so I think we got more straight line speed than the Red Bull. Wasn't good. Oh, what are you doing, Max? Yellow flags.
Green flag. We're racing again.
Pedals and wheel are hard mounted. Yeah, my wheel is good. I have the pedals wedged into the corner of my desk. It's usually okay, but I must have bumped them when I stood up before. I'm gonna take a replay there because I messed that up. And I've managed to change my camera as well. I messed it up because I was too busy talking. It can happen sometimes when you're streaming. Sorry about that.
Full course caution. The safety car is out. Keep an eye on the delta. We need to keep it positive to avoid a penalty. Slow down. Maintain positive delta. Drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Yeah, I know, vroom vroom. I'm sorry. I didn't want to, but I was too busy answering a question and I messed up. So the safety car's out.
You may overtake the safety car. It is waiting to pick up the leader.
Definitely driving at safe speeds right now. Definitely driving at safety car speeds. Yeah, I know. Like nobody has any idea how hard it is to sleep on the roof. That's crazy. No one understands this down here. Yeah, I've got to say, Neil, I feel the same. Like a disproportionate number of my races have been in the wet. If you go back and look through the whole catalogue of the career thus far, and I'm understanding this is part 14 of it, I think.
Pass in 5 minutes and will be replaced by light rain conditions.
Yeah, like a lot of the races are wet. Canada, Azerbaijan, Spa, now Monza. I think Austria was wet. China was wet, if I remember rightly. A whole bunch of them, like, yeah. Oh man, that sucks. Sucks your GPU failed. Ugh. Hopefully you can get it replaced in the not too distant future and get a hold of it. Yeah, I feel the same, Neil. I think I said the same thing on stream yesterday, that I feel maybe Codemasters have made rain a little bit too prevalent, or too likely in their algorithm.
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again.
Oh, we're going to catch this safety car back, and we're going to go.
Remember, there is no overtaking until the green flag.
We're going to go straight to racing.
In this lap.
Alright, now I'll find out how much downforce we've got opposed to the Ferraris and the Mercedes. May post the forum. Wonder, yeah. We're pretty sure it would be something confidential to reveal. Yeah. It's not a bad idea to ask.
Okay, clear.
Damn, I missed the jump.
The gap to the leader is 2.1 seconds.
It's alright. I could have got a really good launch there. I had to back out of it. Oh, too deep. Too deep. What's that? I'm having to set to clear. It was 4 times a year. It'd be perfect. Yeah. I mean, all they've got to do is have a look at how many races have been affected by rain over the last few seasons. It's not that many. Mind you, Formula 1 also doesn't like driving in the rain, so they tend to red flag the race. But that's just me. Thanks. They should talk to Charlie about how often they run in the wet. There's also conditions in this game that there's no way that the race would really be held. Like the heavy rain conditions that you get in the game. They're a fiction, because in real life the cars, they wouldn't run. It looks like we don't have the pace of the Mercedes and the Ferraris around here. We've got pace to be sort of. It's an odd time to make a stop. I think we've definitely got the pace to keep 5th here today, though, and capitalise on any failures from the top 4. Got to keep our nose clean, keep it straight, not drive like that. What would be cool is if Cody's implemented monsoon rains, it would red flag a race, and after however long they would resume and the sky would be a little darker. That would be awesome. Yeah. Starting to make it more realistic for sure. They should introduce mini games like when there's monsoon rain, you got to do like a boat race. That would be realistic for Formula 1, or a dancing competition in the pit lane. Some DDR stuff that'd make the game more popular in Japan. That's for sure. I just had a great idea. Yeah, a red flag where you've got to drive it back into the pit lane and stop. Or you get a restart off the grid. Maybe they do. I can't say I've seen one. Vroom vroom. It's one of those things in reverse though, where it's like the red flag's much more likely in real life than it is in the game. Sorry. Oh, they've been.
Okay, the safety car is out.
Safety car's out again.
Is out. We need to form up at a reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make
This is
sure to
like,
keep it positive.
This is like.
Considering switching to an alternate strategy, do you want to change or stick to plan A?
Oops. Current.
Got that confirmed. We think there's a viable strategy change available to us. Would you like to keep to the current plan or try the new one?
Literally just asked me that. Keep current.
Okay, copy that.
Oh no, they definitely haven't coded the safety car correctly. Yeah, well, I got a good result at Monaco because the if you go back and watch that race, the safety car came out and then Stroll and Sainz had an accident going around it, and they were both out of the race. I'm due to stop on lap 13.
We're still happy that we're on the right tyres at the moment.
Oh, we definitely are. We're not. No time for slicks yet. It's not wet enough for wets. Thankfully, that is something they did fix in this year's game. I don't know if you remember the previous games. If you were on slightly the wrong tire, you had no grip at all. So say if I was on the full wet in this condition, like I'd have no grip. Thankfully they fixed that this year, where you've still got grip. You might just be a little bit short on ultimate grip. So it makes it a much more variable. Like you can run the Inter in. It's a much more like real life, where you can still run the wet in these conditions and only be like half a second off the pace. So, you know, you're not being forced to pit every three laps for a different set of tyres. It's good. It's a good thing to do. And they shouldn't make it that punishing anyway. Like, you want to have fun in a race.
The radar's showing a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain.
You know, you want to make sure that the people playing your game can also have a bit of fun as well. Like, if you're having it where you've got a hard cut-off where there's zero grip for your tyres, then there's no fun in that. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic. Like, you wouldn't be able to run a set of slicks in these conditions, obviously. I don't think we'll have to worry about a stop to put the second set of inters on that early. What we could do is hold out for perhaps another safety car period. Although not the fact that you've got a delta to run to on the first lap now means that you don't really get an advantage anymore, unless it comes out just as you're driving out of the pits. This does mean that our tyres are in better condition than what they otherwise would have been. Maybe we can push it
Car in this lap. Safety
later.
car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember there is no overtaking until the first safety car line. Stay in position until the green flags.
I'm using I got a Fanatec Club Sport 2 base vroom with a Formula rim. Right, so I know they're going to go in the middle of Parabolica, so I've got to be right on the back of Kimi. I wasn't.
The incident has been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed.
I got wheel spin anyway. It's alright. Okay. Ooh, got to run here. I was clumsy, but we got it done. I was worried I'd given Kimi a puncture there, but I remembered that the game doesn't really work like that. Should be none, Neil.
2 laps until the pit
I was using medium TC. I was using medium TC up until the mainly because I felt like it made the car much more enjoyable to drive. But when the esports event came out and it was awarding more points for having TC off, I turned it off. So that should be still off now. And that was the only one I use. I don't use ABS or anything like that. Manual gears.
Okay, gap ahead is 3.4 seconds.
Was almost gone at Parabolica. Oh man, so.
Safety car. No overtaking. Reduce your pace. Keep your delta number positive as we form up. We're considering switching to an alternate strategy. Do you want to change or stick to plan A?
Keep current.
Understood. Copy that.
Oh, we will be boxing this lap. Yeah, driving with the assists off is I always prefer that. Although as I said, I was using medium TC because I felt like it made the cars
Okay, slow down.
much more fun to drive. That was certainly true for F1 2016. I felt. Box this lap.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap. Exit now. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. You'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track. Let's catch up to the field a bit. We're dropping too far back. Remember that we need to stay within 10 car lengths of the next car.
We've taken a bit of a chance here. And we've buried ourselves in the pack. Everyone else is going to have to stop, and they will stop for the inter. It's way too wet to go to any kind of slick at the moment. What we're banking on is the AI all boxing sometime after the, well, either during the safety car or after the safety car. They're not really coded very well. A lot of times I'll actually stop 2 laps into the safety car period, Renault-esque style from Singapore, and it costs them a great deal. Or they'll box when the safety car comes in.
Okay, I think the track will be drying out quite soon. Mind you don't burn out your tyres.
That's my only concern, is that AI could possibly hold off for dry conditions, but I don't think they will. And we're still in the championship fight. We're only 37 points, I think, behind Seb in the lead of the championship. So, you know, we're going to try and get some points. So it's not like we're just throwing mud against the wall kind of thing, risking everything for a win. But I think this might turn out okay for us. We'll see. We'll see. As long as this isn't followed up directly by another safety car period. Yep. Yeah, so this is the 3rd one, I think. 3rd safety car period. It's weird that we're up to our 3rd safety car period and yet all 20 cars are still in the race. I've got 2 cars behind me and I'm 18th. So, yeah, don't know. And we haven't had any of those such and such as out of the race.
When the field accelerates, remember there is no overtaking until the green flags. Safety car in this lap.
Yeah. That would certainly be my guess from Vroom. That was crap. That just cost me a monumental amount of time. Get stuffed, McLaren. That's an interesting line.
Let's hold on to the inters for a while longer.
At Monaco. That would make for a long race. Alright, so the AI started to make pit stops. This is important to us.
Nico has come into the pits. Nico is in the pits now.
And look at the spray of Kvyat's car. There's no way we're anywhere near slicks. Oh, come on. Yeah, thanks, Kvyat. Thanks a lot, Muppet. Bloody hell. You got room, Daniel. You don't need to hit me. Ricardo might have already made a stop because he was at the back as well. So, I might be Ricardo I'm racing with for this win at the moment.
Safety car deployed. The safety car has been deployed. Watch your delta. Make sure you keep it positive as we catch the pack.
So the safety car's out again. Actually, I don't need to do that. I've got carrying way too much fuel and I can't use Rich because of the wear to the MGUH.
Drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. We think there's a viable strategy change available to us. Would you like to keep to the current plan or try the new one?
They want to stop this lap. Confirm change.
Copy that. We're considering switching to an alternate strategy. Do you want to change or stick to plan A?
Box this lap. Confirm change.
Copy.
If AI's telling me it's time for a slick, that's what we're going to do. And it looks like the other cars have followed me in as well. So this was the right decision.
Exit now. You'll be racing as you leave the pits.
I shouldn't be, it's bloody safety car condition. So, Kvyat, that position you just took illegally under safety car condition, you gonna give that back? Yeah, I do like it a lot more than last season, Vroom Vroom, than F1 2016, because now you've actually got like a transition phase where the tyres will work, where both sets of tyres will work, which is great. Whereas F1 2016, it was kind of you're either on the right tyre or you're not. You've either got full grip or you got no grip at all. I think we're actually in good position to win this race, guys. Crazy to think we could win a race in a Renault at Monza. Still got Ricciardo right behind me. The safety car's going to bunch everything up, but yeah, that's definitely true, Neil. I've had that a few times where you'll get passed by the AI, and then you'll be told to go past them, but they'll drive at full racing speed, and you won't be able to pass them, and then you'll finally catch them and pass them, and you'll be told to go back in behind. So it's nuts. That's happened under pretty much every safety car, in every race where I've had a safety car period, something like that's happened. So are they all going to peel into the pits this lap? Like it, doesn't it?
Right, pick up the pace a touch, please. We need to close to within 10 car lengths of the...
What the hell, Ricciardo? Why? Oh, that's ridiculous.
Return the position immediately. We will be penalised.
You can-
no overtaking during
You can have that damage as payback for that. That's ridiculous. Why did he get to be first? There you go. Just as we were talking about that, that's exactly what happened. So Ricciardo's been given first position for some reason. He's able to accelerate past me down the straight, take the lead, and then he's the leader. But he can have a broken front wing for his trouble. That is absolutely preposterous, game. I should send his video to Codemasters later on and go, you tell me why that was right. No shoeies for you this afternoon, Daniel. Very, very embarrassing. Very embarrassing for the sport.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember there is no overtaking until the first safety car line. Stay in position until the green flags. Give that position back. We are under safety car conditions and cannot overtake. Return the position.
That didn't work out so good, did it?
DRS has been disabled.
No! No! I've been screwed over enough in this race without taking that. You get the inside wheel gets caught on the curb there and it just drags you around. Drives you insane. Both going to get done by Hamilton here anyway. Hamilton's just going to drive past me. Magnussen, fastest lap of the race.
7.0 seconds.
Safety car again.
Slow down. Maintain positive delta.
If only that had been thrown about 2 seconds before, Hamilton would be behind me. And this race, it doesn't want me to win, does it? Okay, so you're confusing me now. Ain't that the truth? My lander, he's earning his money today. I better put it back on standard. I'm carrying way too much fuel. All I'm doing is putting a load onto the energy store. I'm only going to really have one chance to overtake Hamilton, I think. And I don't think it'll be off the restart. I think it's going to be into the second chicane on the first lap after the restart. Or out of the second chicane. But it's,
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap.
but it's
When the field
probably
accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags. Safety
probably
car in
not
this
going to
lap.
happen. Sorry, Lewis, didn't mean to hit you there. What? No. 5-second stop go for a severe collision. I feel like that was introduced into the game after Azerbaijan.
Return the position immediately. We will be penalised. There is no overtaking during the safety car period.
The AI's on a rail there. They need that inside line. They won't go around the outside of you there. Nah, it's not going to happen. Mercedes is too good in a straight line. Look at it go.
We're approaching the end of the life on these control electronics. Try to stay off the curbs and other rough surfaces. There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
And Seb's managed to get himself to third. Leading the championship. He's the guy I want to take as many points as I can from.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
control electronics. A second place isn't a bad result for us in a Renault around Monza. We did everything we could to win. We just got done over by safety cars and safety car glitches in the second half of the race. It sucks, but it happens.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
Legendary, 95%. On the slider, it's 95. Although I'm thinking for it's yeah, I'm probably turn that up to 100 for the second season.
So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, they cheated, Crofty.
Completely changed the race, didn't it?
Yeah, the safety car and the cheating of the system behind the safety car completely changed the race, even though it was Ricciardo.
In a good position.
And as the adrenaline dies down after another eventful Grand Prix, here come the top three out onto the podium. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Sebastian Vettel, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Kevin Magnussen. That was a commanding performance today.
Oh,
Very impressive
Kimi.
indeed.
Kimi only
On to
8th.
the constructors then. The lead at the top comes
There's
down
the
after a
championship. I'm
strong
up to
weekend
4th now.
from the challenging pack. It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time though, goodbye.
Yep. Look at that, we're still only 35 points off the lead of the championship. It would have been better for us if it was Seb down in Kimi's position, though. Oh well. Constructors-wise, we're pretty locked into 4th there. We're not going to catch Red Bull. We're not going to be caught by Force India. Good to see the Hulk doing his job down there in 13th in the championship. So that makes the next race Singapore, which means we're going to catch the real life season. Finally. Win this rivalry now. Interest from Red Bull skyrocketing. Mercedes, they just don't like me. Ah, core competency progress. Additional 5% bonus points total for first driver. I'll look out, go do one of these things. This one.
Hello again.
That went well, didn't it? We'll try that again. That was silly. Oh dear.
Drive-through penalty. You have a drive-through penalty.
Why? Anything. Now what's this crap going on? Oh. I've hit the wrong button. Yep, I just keep hitting the wrong buttons. I keep... AI just keeps driving into the back of you and just has you off the road. So much oversteer. And this is difficult. Very difficult. We almost got there. Better have another go at that.
Well, this is it. This is where they all want to be. Here comes...
Not really. I want another go at that. Why not? Nothing else to do. Doesn't really have any impact on your career, so it's not like I'm cheating for a result. Oh, man. I didn't mean for that to happen. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I wish they would do that. And this car is super nervous, in desperate need of a setup. Yeah, I agree, Neil. I reckon that'd be really cool if they gave us a classic championship. That'd be awesome.
And now it's time to wind
Now we
down
can celebrate.
and celebrate after that fantastic Grand Prix. Here they come, your top three, out onto the podium.
Mate, I was on the podium at Monza. This doesn't mean anything. So after we do Singapore, we'll have caught up to the real championship. Oh, look out! What's he want? Oh, well, that's right. We had a.
Hey, good to see you again. The team are now ready to start development on some new upgrades. You can review these from within the laptop. I'll speak to you later, okay?
Oh, does that mean we got that? We unlocked the thing where Oh no, they're just telling me to spend my points. I've only got 600 of them. It's not that many. What I want to do is spend them on. Now that we've maxed out the gearbox, I want to get this upgrade because it's a pretty good upgrade for. As you can see, it's a bit of a jump. Oh well. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna call the stream for now. So, yeah, we'll resume sometime this afternoon after lunch to do the Singapore Grand Prix. At which point, like I said, we'll be caught up with the real F1 season. So, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for asking questions and putting up with my cruddy driving and stuff. Hope everybody had as much fun as I did. So we'll talk to you in a few hours' time. Thanks, everyone.